and Bob's going to be like a moderator for this discussion that we are going to have, okay? And so, you know, I'll allow you to chime in whenever you feel like it. What I want to tell you really may bother some of you, and it may make some of you think, who are coming to me with these questions. I don't really know what I'm going to do. I really don't know what I'm doing. I really have no idea what to do. Okay, so what I mean by that is, and you could cut that probably and then put it on and everybody will believe you. And that's okay with me because it's true. So people often come to me and they say, look, I need to learn self-defense, and I need like 5 techniques I can use in stressful situations or in dynamic situations that are going to work, functional. And I say, okay, well, I can give you 5 things, okay? The problem is really, and I've literally made hundreds of hours of videos, more than 100, I mean, maybe 1,000 hours. Could be more than that. I really honestly don't know. I know there's hundreds of hours at least. And you know, if you watch those intently, let's just say you go and you get the Finland 9 DVD or 11 DVD, 2017 or 2015, whatever, I don't know. If you watch, when someone attacks me and I'm teaching a specific thing, oftentimes I might do something different 2 out of 3 times or 3 out of 5 times, completely different. Well, that's because when that person gives me the stimulus, I respond to the stimulus in a way that is going to be effective. I don't have a set technique for a set stimulus. I really don't know at the time what I'm going to do. I know many things that I've trained. They're in my bloodstream. They flow through my body and maybe somewhere in my subconscious, okay? They're there, but I don't really predict. Now, when I'm teaching, of course, I'm going to teach response A, response B, response C, response D, usually 5 things, you know, I'll do for a specific stimulus. If you're in my instructor program or just in my online program or just, you know, bought one video, you'll see that that's kind of the format I follow. And sometimes those things have to be broken down into individual techniques so that you can pass that to another person within that person's ability. And sometimes this is very, very difficult because like my instructor, Sifu Dan, he will teach a seminar and when he's teaching, you know, people often complain, he does this and this and this and so much. Well, he's got so many levels of people viewing him, listening to him, and they all want something different, and they're all on different levels, psychologically or mentally, and then physically, you have people on many different levels. For instance, when I started training with him, I was in my early 20s, late teens, and my body was different. And now I'm training with him in my 50s. Last time I saw him, I was 55. I'm 56 now, 57 now. So, you know, my body's different, and I'm going to be attracted to things that he would do in a different way. Certain things he does now, I'm just gonna say, I'm not gonna do that, but I'll put that back here. And certain things he does, I'll say, that's what I'm gonna do, or I'm gonna use that, teach that. And so the idea that, you know, you could create a system and say, here's 10 things or 5 things or whatever it is. I saw something, 12 things you're gonna do that's Gonna make you an ultimate warrior? Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, really, you could have great success by learning 5 things. And you could also have no success learning 5 things. And you could have great success having spent 5 years training in multiple systems. And you could have no success by doing that. And really, you know, it's how you process information that's important. But really, you know, I really honestly believe in forms. I believe in doing forms. And a form can be as simple as shadow boxing, right? Okay, throwing punches in the mirror, that's a form. A form could be a very formal kind of thing where you are repeating something that's been done for 1,000 years, okay? A form could be something that you yourself create, and it's standard, and you could have a form that is non-standard. Like in Filipino martial arts, they like to do carenza, which basically is a free-flowing form that has no structure. It's just they're gonna do whatever comes out. And that's another way of practicing a form. So all those things are really good. And then you could have this base set of technical things that you accomplish that you are extremely good at. You know, maybe 5 things for an attack to my left side, 5 things for an attack to my right side. That's the way I approach it. I want to give you 5 things for each possibility, and then you kind of absorb those, and you might not be good at 3 of them. You might only be good at 2 of them. But when you receive a stimulus that is out of shock, in other words, you're not ready for it, you might do the one you hate the most, and you don't know why. And that's why years ago, I called my school the Wu Shin Kun Academy, fighting without thought or emotion. Okay, so there's no emotion, no level of kindness, no level of hatred in the act. It simply is. Okay, and that I picked up, I think when I maybe had been training a year and a half in Jeet Kune Do, out of one of Bruce Lee's, I think it's in the book, Inosanto's Absorb What Is Useful book. I think it's in that book. It's a term paper Bruce Lee wrote on the Kung Fu mind. Really interesting because before I chose that name, I had experienced that phenomenon more than 1 time, more than 3 times. So that really what happened is I was struck by it, that I had been successful in at full speed with resistance engagement and had no idea what I'd done to be successful. It just happened like that. And really that's the level everyone, you know, in the ancient world really would operate on. And you could really, if you want to do this, go and read the accounts of Israel's mighty men. Okay, they will also, even though one is Chinese, right? Probably Taoism or Buddhism, and the other one is Judaism. The Israel's mighty men had the same thing to say. Okay, it's pretty different philosophies, but they had the same thing to say about combat. And probably, you know, if you talk to someone who's been in combat on like a tier 1 operator, they're going to tell you that yes, they practice many techniques, and if they're going to, you know, hit a compound or whatever, they're going to go through that, and they're going to train and train and train and drill and drill and drill and drill. Something that reality-based martial artists have a tendency to hate is drilling. I don't want to drill. It doesn't do me any good. Drilling is necessary, okay? It really is, but to what degree and to what understanding? In other words, Do you understand what the drill is giving you, so that you don't really just repeat the same product for multiple different entities? So in other words, if you develop the same thing from doing 5 versions of Sinawali and you do 55 versions of Sinawali, maybe you could do 5 versions and then just keep it at that, okay? Maybe, I don't know, because I've done many, many versions, and maybe they're just in my body and the 5 are enough for me now. I think we do 16, or 30, I don't know. Anyway, so when you're training, you know, yes, you need a standardized structure in order to develop certain things. And once you have developed those certain things, you know, you maybe need to like put those certain things in different situational applications, okay? Yes. But if you have situational applications without the other training, you can still be successful, okay? You can. However, you know, having coordination, timing, rhythm, a good sense of distance, and a good sense of when to crash and when not to. And this becomes really part of your subconscious. You're not even going to be thinking, I'm gonna do this. That might be beneficial in ways the other one cannot be. Because I train many, many different people from many, many different backgrounds. And they come to me in the multi-level black belts and or instructor rankings, and they all have a philosophy, but they all have also, you know, holes, big giant holes in their abilities, okay, in their ability to improvise and adapt, okay? For me, you know, what I said in the beginning is so important. I am just adapting to the situation that I'm thrown into. Now, I might have forethought and create your movement, yes, and that requires a strategy, but I have to know in advance what your tendency is. Now, I can have you tell me your tendency with certain types of stimulus that I can use, okay? And or I can lead you down a path if I know what your tendency already is. Now, I'm writing a book on this right now. It's so difficult for me to put this into the written word. It's been 2.5 years and I'm still flabbergasted, really, on how to put this into written word. But this thing that you're developing through training is concrete, okay? However, it is fluid. It is fluid and dynamic. Yet the structure is concrete. So how do you have that at the same time? Believe that that concept has been around a long, long time. I don't know how long, but as long as the yin yang has been around, or the Tao has been around, that understanding has been there. You have something very concrete, and this is your structure. And you have something that is very fluid, okay? Order and chaos existing, right? So out of chaos, I bring order with structure. And within the order that you present, I flood you with chaos. So this makes it more difficult for you to respond to my assault, because I already understand the structure, that the human mind, that how the human being will respond to certain stimulus. Now, of course, your training can lead you down that path a hell of a lot more quickly. Certain systems are almost always going to respond with a defensive act, and that defensive act pretty much is a firm defense, a block, a riposte. And so these things are very typical of most martial arts. You know, Bruce Lee created an art that was based on attack and counterattack, not defense. But people hijacked it, and they've taken this art and they have colored it in the way that your original brain, that animal brain, thinks. Okay, so you're now taking something that is chaotic and constantly moving, and then you're making it concrete, but you're taking away the fluid part of it so that you can sell it, okay? And then you can mass produce it. And this is what Sifu Dan was always against, was mass producing Jeet Kune Do. And so he taught Jun Fan Kung Fu primarily. And then what you assess out of that is your version of Jeet Kune Do. But you don't understand, he's teaching a whole bunch of things. And then that's really your expression of all those things. You may not favor Silat, you may not favor Wing Chun, you may not favor grappling, but you're gonna use all of that at some point. And so that is so important that you know, when you color things with your personal likes and dislikes, you make it difficult for you to grow beyond a certain point. You'll be within that structure, and that's as far as that can take you. I love Wing Chun, but don't put me in that box. Even though I say I teach Wing Chun, I do not teach Wing Chun in a box, okay? I do not, I will not, okay? Because I don't believe it was meant to be taught that way. It was meant to have structure and chaos. Okay, it was meant to have that. Jeet Kune Do was meant to have structure and chaos. In Filipino martial arts, they even put it in the triangles. You have one thing and then you have the other. It's there. So you say, well, there's no real structure in Filipino martial arts. Yeah, well, if you have a numbering system, that's a structure. If you have set defenses for each one of those strikes, that's a structure, my friend. So when you have that structure, you also have to have the chaos. And that's something that strikes me about Filipino martial arts. And this is why I've been quoted as saying, studying Wing Chun made me better at Kali than another 10 years could have made me at Kali. And studying Kali made me better at Wing Chun than another 10 years of Wing Chun. Now, I've been saying that for about 12 years, so, okay, maybe I equalize that, maybe not. Maybe I'm constantly changing. And so, when you're studying a martial art, whatever that is, you've got to understand that it should be very structured on one side and very chaotic on the other. In this way, you can handle what life throws at you, okay? Because life or humans are very, very unpredictable, okay? The ones that are predictable are the ones that follow only structure, okay? The ones that are chaotic are the ones you gotta really kind of worry about because there's no standard way to respond to that kind of threat. There's no way to respond to that person that the motion isn't recognized by your structure. You don't recognize it. We say, well, we do 64 numbers in our numbering system. Believe me, they are still structures. It's still structured and it's set in a way that you will always rely on that. So if you practice 5 techniques for 64 things, you have 320 things that you're practicing. And that's a lot. And you say, so I know 5 ways to deal with each one of these structures or these attacks. So really, I can deal with anything. But maybe that without moving outside that structure, just let somebody walk in the door and say, hit me with a hammer, hit me with a screwdriver, you know, slash me with a box cutter, the movement will be different than with a stick. And the movement will be different than with a sword. And the movement will be different than with a knife that's made for cutting or fighting. Because the weapon they're using is made for driving a nail, and it's made for cutting a box open. So yeah, I mean, to a degree, there's only so many ways the body can move. However, the mind can move in limitless ways. And where your mind goes, there goes your body. So yes, it's true. When I predict what will happen, I cannot. If someone asks me, what would you do if someone thrusts you with a knife in the stomach? I don't know, because where are they thrusting me in the stomach? You understand? Where in my stomach? Are they thrusting me in the stomach from straight on, like in training? Or are they thrusting me in the stomach from the side? Are they thrusting me in the stomach with a wide thrust? Or are they thrusting me in the stomach with a narrow thrust? Or are they thrusting me in the stomach from a crouch? Or are they lunging, right? That's gonna make a difference, man. So sometimes I might not do anything at all other than just move my body, right? And that's a concept that maybe you should wrap your head around. Sometimes when there's a threat, do nothing. Move, just move. Okay, friends, hey, like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. You know, I really need more subscribers. I need to get this thing really moving. This is my main social media platform now. And so I want you interacting with me, and I want to teach every day, but I really don't want to flood the thing. This is a 22-minute video. I doubt many people will watch this all the way, but this is the kind